Well, you see the green on track, and hopefully you're wearing green yourself. It's St. Patrick's Day, and it is the last race of the Stars and Stripes Cup Series for the regular season here tonight. As the drivers are getting set to see who's making it to the playoffs, we are excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. The drivers here at Talladega are ready for the next level Racing 200, where drivers are going to be attacking for 75 laps here tonight. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, and as well Robert Moyer running the productions here tonight. We love to give you guys all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And Zach, tonight, so important. It's about who's going to be making it into the playoffs.
Yeah, the regular season finale is finally here, Sam. We've been talking about it for a long time now, coming up to this Talladega race. And I tell you what, it's a pretty close cut line there with Dylan Grimm sitting there in that final playoff spot. You're going to be seeing drivers such as Nate Lynch there, who's top of the practice board, looking to get his way in. I mean, we got a great group there. Brett Somers, Nick Holland, Travis Dart. You know, when we get down to Brian Lynch back there about 22 points, that's when I think it starts getting a little bit tougher with points. But still, anybody can win this race, so that even throws a whole curveball into this.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's down to we've got 11 drivers that are pretty set points-wise. We know that we've got a total of 8 that have already won this season that are automatically locked in. When we go green, that of Kyle Bowling as well as Trey Jackson will be automatically locked in. Aaron Hale's going to, I mean, something dramatic's going to have to happen for Hale not to be moving on to that of the next, making it into the playoffs. But it's all about that 12th position where we find that of Dylan Grimm. And Grimm has Brett Somers, Nate Lynch, Nick Holland. I mean, also that of Travis Dart. Those drivers have really been finding their own groove, and also to other drivers that are in must-win territory. And if they win, they move on to the playoffs. You've got that of Mike Lynch, Kovacic, as well as Patrick Hasty, Grattan, Brian Burchett, and John Dart. Those are other drivers that cannot point their way in but are in must-win territory, as drivers are practicing right now before they get to qualifying. And that's another aspect for these drivers. There are bonus points to be grabbed here tonight. 2 points here, Zach, where drivers can get 2 points if they get the pole position.
Yeah, that's would be 2 points very well needed for a few of them for sure. So we'll see what they can elect to do, but it's going to be the 2 fastest laps here up in a few minutes here for anybody that can put it down. But right now, I'm seeing definitely some tandem drafting with some teammates out there, just going out with 2 cars and trying to run the fastest times. We've seen Chris Essery and Cameron Sarton actually jump to the top of our leaderboard there after Chris Essery's big win last week over his teammate Cameron Sarton. I mean, what a job by him there. He locked himself in the playoffs, but he was pretty well off already on points. So Chris Essery just did that to make him feel a little bit more comfortable, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a comfort level for Chris Essery that's been waiting to get that action, but we're at Super Speedway Racing. And Zach, we look at how this season has gone at these 2+ mile courses. It's all Ken Campbell. I mean, Ken Campbell has been the dominating driver when we come to these bigger courses, and that was in the beginning of the season where we had Daytona and Michigan. Ken Campbell won 3 races in a row, that last race being at Atlanta. But Campbell was only able to do that because of Christopher Wade's great teamwork and aspect of working with one another. That's going to be something that these drivers are going to be talking about, and how can they work as a team moving forward. But first, they've got this qualifying, and it's all on your own. You've got to put down your own fastest lap. You got no teamwork, nothing to help you during this stage. We got ourselves 5 minutes, 2 laps. And if you're one of these drivers that needs points, like Brett Somers, Nate Lynch, Nick Holland, Travis Dart, that are outside of that bubble spot, they need to get this pole position. Those are 2 massive points that technically count as 2 positions for these drivers coming into tonight. And as well for Dylan Grimm, he's going to want these points, as we see the 209, that of Travis Dart, currently on track.
Seeing the 209, like you said, pull out on track, Sam. And this is going to be the interesting factor that I want to see is, what do these drivers do for a preparation lap? You know, Old Faithful would say we used to run 2 laps around here. You know, the opening lap right against the wall like the 209 is doing here on our out lap. Come to take the green flag for that first lap, you keep it against that wall all the way around this 2.66 mile racetrack here in Talladega. Then you would drop it low going down into that final lap there on lap 2 to get the fastest time. I think the drivers that did the research here this week are going to find out that the fastest time actually is coming on that first lap, and the drivers who have figured that out are going to be the ones doing that. Look at that, Travis Dart immediately to the bottom. That tells me he has been working on that all week, and he is going to be trying to put down his quickest lap here on the first lap.
Well, yeah, the first lap can be the fastest, but there's also the other strategies for these drivers to take it slow. They don't have to push it on that first lap, kind of use it as a waiting period so they can make sure that they've got a little bit more speed instead of, full throttle. Make sure that you're max speed on that first lap and maybe just coast around and warm up those tires just a little bit. So you got some more heat to work with as to the bottom, hugging that yellow line. And Zach, I mean, it is all about making sure that you're staying low and keeping yourself in a good position. But how difficult is it trying to keep these cars stable and down below?
It's very, very difficult, actually, and I mean, especially to extract the hundredths of a second that separates people here at Talladega. As Travis Stark comes across the line for his first time, it's going to be top of the board with only above Brett Summers, who's put down times as more times continue to trickle in. But again, holding that bottom line, very tough to do. It's definitely it's a art, I would say. It's about not scrubbing speed. You want to get it as low as possible in that corner to shorten the distance around this racetrack here. But you also want to not put as much wheel possible in it. The more you turn those front wheels to the left, the more friction they're going to have to that racetrack, and they're not going to be carrying that speed straight forward. So it's all about not scrubbing the speed and keeping the momentum built up. As right now, King Campbell going to take the top time in that 15 machine. Great time for him there, and that's a couple hundredths of a second over anybody. He did a great job on not scrubbing that speed.
I mean, it's all about finding that speed. His teammate, the 53 of that of Christopher Wade. Wade's already found himself a win this season. It was back at Rockingham, and you look at that at Michigan, Daytona. It was all that of Wade trying to help Ken Campbell get to victory lane. And there's a little bit of green and some luck that some drivers might be looking for. That's going to be Andrew Medlin on the 12, going to be on the high line for his first lap.
Yeah, a little bit of different here for this driver, Andrew Medlin. So we'll see what it produces for him in that machine there as he's coming to the tribal there in the 12 machine, and we'll see how fast his second lap will produce. But yeah, right now seeing those first laps be the quicker ones. I know Ken Campbell there stuck it out for his second, a little bit slower on that second lap, but I'm expecting that for the few guys that did the first lap strategy. It seems like tire heat is actually being a factor here at this racetrack, and it's definitely surprising to say that, but it's become a factor in here, and drivers are figuring out little ways to extract a little bit more time each and every time here that we come to the super speedways, especially out of this older Gen 6 car. I mean, everybody's figured the tricks of the trade here with this thing. This is definitely a car now that we've got it figured out, and this package also a little bit more racy than it used to be, Sam. That's another thing is, this car here, it used to be a struggle fest where track position was everything. If you didn't qualify up front, it was going to be a long day trying to get your way up to the front as the bottom dominated. But here lately, we've seen this Gen 6 actually be able to pretty much race and use that top groove to pretty good efficiency.
I think also what's going to be helping with that is the fact that this track is so much wider. When we talk about super speedways, there's two tracks that we primarily talk about. That's Daytona and Talladega. Daytona is more of a 2 wide most of the time. You can go 3 wide at moments, but it's a lot more known to just say 2 wide. But Talladega, yes, see those 3 defined lanes, as that of Medlin's only going to be finding himself up to 15th. But the 3 defined lanes gives you space to get away from the drivers that are trying to side draft, get to your quarter panel, slow you down. This is what's going to be allowing these drivers to try to go a little bit more side by side, potentially 3 wide action. As a driver that is trying his best, wasn't close enough to finish out his lap, is Dylan Glass. Because qualifying is done, it's time for us to find out who's making it to the playoffs, as this is our last regular season race of the season for season 4. This is race number 15 for the Next Level Racing, as here they are lining up, taking your pole position. It's going to be Ken Campbell, our 3-time winner and last Super Speedway winner this season, the 15, top of the board. With our Rookie of the Year candidate that has been dominating, looking so good and consistent, it's Cameron starting in second. Travis Dart and the 209 looking for a win to be making it into the playoffs. Going to be in 3rd place with that of Christopher Wade. Dylan Grimm, our bubble driver, 5th place. Good to be seeing the 23 up front, not giving too many points to the drivers around him. With that of Brian Lynch. Chris Esterier last week winner with John Dart, Nate Lynch, and Sky Rickard going to be our top 10.
In the 11th position, it's going to be the 31 of Trey Jackson there. 12th is going to be the 29 of Cole Sacchetti. 13th place is going to go to the 2 of Mike Lynch. Alongside him, it's going to be Dylan Glass in the 42 machine in the 14th position. 15th is going to go to the 12 of Andrew Medlin. 16th is going to be the 17 of Brent Summers, looking to make his way in through the points or possibly winning here tonight. 17th is going to be Martin Perry in the 69. 18th is going to be Timmy McNally. 19th is going to go to Jason Gratton with Nick Holland rounding out that top 20 in the 68 machine.
21st going to be Doug Pierce with Kyle Bowling, going to be in 22nd position with last season's champion, that of Kyle McCoy, going to be in 23rd. Patrick Hasty in 24th with that of Brian Chu, who's back in the racing for the 11 and 25th spot with the 4 of Aaron Hale, Bill Dart, as well as Max Ward, Paul House, and George Kovacic going to be finishing out your top 30 with that of Brian Burchett, Derek Offerman, Race Control 499 of Randy Cornwell's just going to be watching these drivers all night long with Adam Sidlow as well as Steve Anderson, finishing out your 35 drivers that we're going to be racing here tonight for 75 laps. And Zach, it's one of the new rules that came in at the start of the season, but only super speedways and road courses come with fast repair. So these drivers, if they get caught up in a wreck, their race is not done.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sam. Like you said, it's the only other track than the road courses here that they get it is at these super speedways, and that is always something nice to have, especially for these guys that are on the cut line, like Dylan Grimm. I mean, he's probably going to be really thankful that they got that fast repair for him to lean on a little bit there. So, if he wrecked out of this race early, it isn't over for him. So it's going to be one of those races where you can never give up, Sam, just because you got involved in one incident before. You got that reset card there to help bring you back right into the action. It's going to be all over the place. And there's going to be points up for grab. I mean, we got 34 cars out here tonight ready to do battle here for 75 laps. There's points up to grab. I mean, with how the points looked, we could see anywhere from 3 or 4 guys trying to point their way into this deal. So it's going to be tough, but they got a long way to go here for 75 laps, and whoever can get it done at the end could possibly even win their way.
They honestly can, and that's going to be one of the big things for Dylan Grimm that he does not want to see is another driver that's outside of the top 12 get a win and automatically bump Grimm out of a playoff opportunity. Other ways that you can get points, making passing positions going to be very important, especially when you're up in the top 15 to top 30. I mean, top 15, excuse me. Those drivers, each position, 2 points. That is going to be massive for these drivers. On top of the bonus points that can be grabbed, 5 points for those that get zero incident points, 1 point for leading a lap, 3 points for leading the most laps, and Ken Campbell already taking the 2 bonus points for taking the pole position. As drivers are getting set, Zach, what are some of your final thoughts before we go green flag racing here at Talladega?
Well, Sam, my final thought is these drivers better be ready to perform here at the time when they need it. It's going to be a clutch play. They're going to need clutch plays in the playoffs, but if they need to get into the playoffs now, they're going to need it to be clutch here to end this regular season. It's going to be a wild ride all the way down to the end of the 75 laps, everybody.
Pace cars going off. Your flagman is ready, but it's all the waiting and anticipation. The longest wait besides Phoenix, where drivers are just sitting and waiting. They have to go across the tri-oval at a normal oval course. That's where the start-finish line would be. But you have to first get through the tri-oval and then get to the green flag. But for these drivers, the final opportunity to make it into the playoffs, and we are green for the Next Level Racing 200 here at Talladega. And it's Ken Campbell, that of Travis Dart on the inside, already taking it off, and Christopher Wade's already following suit on the inside.
Yeah, great start from the bottom side there to get low, but look at this, Travis Dart jumps up high in the 209 machine. That lets Christopher Wade here get to the back bumper. His teammate, Ken Campbell here, we'll see exactly what they try to pull off is now up top. They're going to see if they can get anything formulated. We've seen in the past this Cup car have a tough time getting runs on the outside. It seems like the bottom lane has been dominant lately. But what we've seen in the past few months with a few updates, this outside line can produce something. It just takes a little while. We'll see who can get it done, though.
Well, they're going to have to find a little bit of, closure because they are too spaced out. There's a couple of drivers blinking that's causing drivers to feel unsecure about really trying to push forward. But down on the bottom, it's the teammates that got the job done at Daytona. It's Ken Campbell and Christopher Wade working with one another. And Zach, you got to be thinking for both these drivers, they've been quick, they've been fast all season long. Can they do it again of dominating up front like they did at Daytona, but here at Talladega?
I think it's going to be a little bit harder tonight just due to how the package is changed. probably a little bit more racy, whereas in the past, it's been a little bit more domination of, in numbers, where if you can stay out front and make it happen, is the ability to make that work. And we haven't seen the outside line work very well, but we did see Ken Campbell, Christopher Wade actually use that to win at Daytona. So it was one of those things that was tougher to do back then, but now tonight I think you'll see that outside line actually try to do something. But they have definitely dropped back a few positions, but I think that was, like you said, due to Travis Start there, a little bit of a connection issues for him there, but it looks like he's cleared up now. It's just the second part of mine.
I'm loving the fact that we're starting to see teammates rocking pretty similar schemes, as you see those on the outside in the pink and number 10 machine. That's going to be Chris Essery, who won and is happy to finally say that he has won this season with having Travis Dart behind him, and as well that of Cameron Sarton. They're hoping to have another teammate join them, but they're further back. But Zach, I mean, just having teamwork and working with one another, that is already just getting together. That's already getting one goal done. But I have to imagine the next is either get up front or drop to the back.
Yeah, this is always a plan that drivers could have, is that, get away strategy and get to the safe part of this racetrack and kind of ride to the end and kind of wait your time out. But, other drivers have felt like sometimes getting up front is the safest place to be. We'll have to see how that works out tonight, but we're definitely seeing a few separations of a few different packs right now forming up behind this major group we've got up here.
Our front leader is going to be finding that with the majority of our top 20 going to be still attached to this lead pack. And then you go back to that 22nd position. That's where you find Patrick Hasty, Doug Pierce. That of also going to be Max Ward, going to be back here in the second pack of drivers. Then there's a third pack that is being led by that of Kyle McCoy. So 3 different groups right now. You'd say the drivers are the furthest back, feeling the most secure, that they see the further drivers and they know they can react to it. That second pack, yes, they still got a little bit of attachment to the draft, but certainly not wanting to put any more pressure ahead of them. And then our lead pack, the leaders, top 21, all are willing to be aggressive and fight for any position they are looking for.
Yeah, like you said, the top 21 up there fighting hard, but this group back here, led by Kyle McCoy from the 27th position on back there, all by themselves riding right now, just trying to save here and wait until the end of this race. And, Kyle McCoy, he has the luxury of being able to do this here, Sam. He's locked into this playoffs. He can do this, but look at this. They're running up on the pack ahead. They're having incidents ahead of them. And, they're wrecking right there. Looks like that was the 9 machine of Patrick Hasty going around. He's backwards on the back straightaway, and we're going to get a caution real quick from that.
And it's that second pack we were just talking about. I mean, they were side by side, but just bizarre moments to see, bringing out a yellow and I did. We're on lap 5. I'm so puzzled by this incident. It was one of the most, one of the packs that, again, we were expecting to just stay lenient. Usually you expect the first wreck to be the drivers up front. As we take an instant replay here, Max Ward and Patrick Hasty, a miscommunication, and there they go in the middle of the pack, practically racing for that of 23rd, 24th position. And you see the 9 being spun around. Good thing for Aaron Hale. He's got a nice buffer of 38 points coming into this race, but both those drivers not wanting the damage that they just collected.
Yeah, that's a tough break right there. And I mean, if you're Max Ward, really nowhere for him to go. He had a pretty big head of steam there, and it looks like the 9 was trying to jump up in front of him, but just didn't do it aggressively enough, and they were already there to the outside. Kind of from there, squeezed them almost as far as he possibly could go till Max Ward just got into the wall and bounced off it into him. So a little bit of a hiccup there, but man, that was definitely weird from a second pack there who looked like they were just trying to ride and make it out until we see a caution, but they end up being the caution themselves. And that's why even those strategies like that, they sometimes still don't work out, of going back in there, going to the back and trying to just ride. That's sometimes where some of these incidents just like that, of miscommunication and just 2 different wavelengths connecting in. Man, major incident there for Hasty, though, who got that damage. But luckily for Aaron Hill, it's not too bad. Max Ward, though, also catching some pretty heavy damage. So,
as you can see, about half the field decided to come into pit road. I'm liking this call. Split yourself off, get yourself some fuel. Maybe some drivers might feel like tires, but again, tires are never really an issue. We talk about that often, but they do have 3 extra sets in pit road if needed, on top of that 1 fast repair for these drivers. But Zach, with these drivers that are coming into pit road, it splits the field now in half. Those that are going to be having 7 laps of fuel more than the front half of drivers.
I like this strategy. It's always nice to have more fuel at a restrictor plate track. It makes pit stops shorter when you can, take less tires than four. It just gives you options. And I mean, if you're farther back in the pack, why not have that ability to have options? It's something that can really help, your strategy out for the later part of this race. I'm going to be trying to think how exactly this could play out if it was to go green here. Would it affect this? I don't think it would affect too much of the strategy personally. But I will say this much: it definitely is giving them something a little bit different to play with. And like I said, sometimes those seconds that you save on pit road putting fuel in the car can be the difference in getting that track position to get out front.
Few drivers decided to stay in pit road for extended times for repairs. That's going to be Kyle McCoy in the 7, going to be getting repairs done. Brett Somers as well, just leaving pit road for the 17 with looks like damage repairs, and as well the 9 still in pit road getting repairs done. First driver to use a fast repair here tonight is going to be Max Ward in the 59, going to be in 29th position. And that is not how you want to start this race off on lap number 7 of having basically already using up your safety net. Now you got to hope that you stay out of trouble and have a chance to be up front and racing, and at least just racing for a win. Looking at some of the drivers here that are racing for a win, will have to win, I should say. I got that a Mike Lynch, George Kovacic, Patrick Hastings, Jason Gratton, Brian Burchett, and John Dart. There's a couple of those drivers, Zach, that actually, in my eyes, I circled them, and I'm surprised they did not have a better season. Jason Gratton, one of those drivers. Brian Burchett as well, another driver that had some strong runs, but hasn't been the consistent driver that there's been. But luckily we're here at Talladega, where the wild card of anyone can win is certainly still alive.
Yeah, that is Talladega for you. It literally, it's anybody's ball game to go out there and go get a victory. So we'll see who can play their cards right here in these next 75 laps. But just doing a little calculations there, Sam, to figure out, how this race is going to play out. 75 laps, you're looking at, if you split this race in two, you're looking at 37 and a half laps with a 90% fuel load. I do not see these drivers being able to go 37 laps with a 90% fuel load. I do see them be able to go pretty close to that. But these drivers who just topped off right there, that left them with 68 to go. 68 to go halfway. That's 34 laps. With 90% fuel load, I possibly think 34 laps could be a doable mark for these drivers to do that have hit pit road. So these drivers that now have hit pit road, they could possibly be in a one-stop territory if we were to stay green, while the rest of this group, they would be looking at the half and still to possibly make 2 pit stops due to the fact they have not come down pit road to get that extra bit of fuel.
Well, there's a couple of drivers that still didn't feel completely secure. That's going to be Trey Jackson, that of Derek Offerman, Brett Somers, and as well Patrick Hastings, all coming into pit road, topping off to make sure that they're good. So those are a couple of drivers that just trying to make sure they've got an extra lap on their toes so they know that they're good, just in case we somehow stay green to the end. But I think for the drivers up front, they might want a couple of more cautions if they want to stretch their fuel out and keep track position for themselves. As up front, Ken Campbell, that of Christopher Wade, Chris Essery, Dylan Grimm, that of Nate Lynch, going to be your top 5, with Travis Dart, John Dart, with Cameron Sarton, that of Cole Sacchetti, and Dylan Glass, going to be your top 10.
Yeah, and like you alluded to, Sam, there with the caution laps, I do think that's what the group up front is hoping for. They're probably going to have to play it now where if we get multiple cautions, they're just going to have to save the fuel under these cautions to make it to that point. I think it's close enough to where we get 1, maybe 2 more cautions here. They could definitely stretch that fuel. So we'll see how that works out. As Talladega, we know how cautions work here. It is the waiting around any corner. And sometimes you have dry spells too. So Talladega and Daytona, always a strategy race. Let's see how this strategy plays out.
It certainly is an option of staying green, but it's on the drivers themselves. How patient do they want to be? Who's going to be assertive and aggressive, and who's going to be passive? That's what brought out our first yellow of the night, where 2 drivers with 2 different mentalities and clashing, even though they both were in the waiting pack of the field. Well, drivers are getting ready to go green. It's going to be Ken Campbell, Christopher Wade, Chris Essery. We are green, and what a spaced out restart this was. Ken Campbell just took off right in the middle of the trial while the rest of the field, they were waiting for, I think, the green lights to come on. Little bit of a sneaky restart, but it's going to be Ken Campbell, Chris Essery, Christopher Wade, Nate Lynch, and Dylan Grimm, your top 5, as Grimm pops it high going on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, he's going to drop it back down low here as we're going to single file out for our first front six here as they're trying to break away. As also they've got two more coming along, as now Grimm's going to even hop out. It's definitely a jumbled up restart there when Ken Campbell took off that early. I think he was trying to get him and Christopher Wade lined up. Wade did not get the jump he needed. That allowed the 10 of Chris Esri there to get in between. And now we'll see what these could do here. Is, man, Esri just all over the back bumper, pushing that 15 to a pretty good head of steam.
Well, he's found some type of glue because that 10 is not getting off the 15's bumper. And for how long he's going to be staying there could be a danger of blowing that engine. And Zach, that is always going to be a focus for these drivers. If you're that close and just staying on the back bumper like Esri is here, the 10 on the back bumper of the 15, you're always going to have that woe and concern of, well, what are my temps looking like the longer you stay on top?
Yeah, that's got to be my concerning factor too here, Sam, is he has been tucked up underneath that bumper for a good whole lap now, and that car will definitely start to overheat about a lap and a half into that push, and you'll see him start to try to back away here, possibly get a little bit of air, and the farther back he is from that car, the more air that's going to get into that nose. You see a little duck to the high side there coming off the corner. That gets a little bit. He actually hangs about half his car out to the outside. They're getting air into the nose, so you can do that job as a driver, but man, now behind this pack here, we got a head of steam because that checkup there, I believe we had a car that was lagging there for a second, actually up high there. Well, I think that's the 25 and 8 Lynch, sorry. And he was dropping out of this pack, and it let that second group catch right back up with a full head of steam.
Yeah, just giving a little bit more space to work with as we're running on board with the 13. That of Cameron Sartin and getting a sense of the two wide action. He's going to be moving up to the eye line. Is going to be that of Travis Dart, as well as seeing others trying to work. They're going to go 3 wide as Grimm gets stuck all on his lonesome on the high side, but it's not the worst place to be falling back. Find a little bit of comfort. It's out front still that of Ken Campbell. Chris Esri feeling comfortable, but that outside lane, they're getting a little bit more momentum and moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it's starting to finally move there for the outside lane, and we're going to see what they got here as the teammates are lining up out there. You got Sicchetti there in the flames machine. You got Travis Dart leading it. And we heard, the team there last week in their interviews talk about they want to get Travis Dart here, Chris Esri, and also Cameron Sartin. So that was their plan entering tonight. We'll see what they can do for that 209 as he pushes his way on that outside.
And you can see it there, two very defined groups, those that were able to stay with the draft with our leaders that got an amazing start at the beginning, and those that have been trapped side by side and just losing all the ground for themselves. It's still going to be that of the 15 up front, but he's got teammates swapping. Here comes that outside lane, and it's going to be Travis Dart. I know Travis Dart's been having a lot of fans in the chat all season long. They've been waiting for the 209 to finally strike gold. And here tonight, it's going to be the best chance of it here at Talladega for that of the Next Level Racing 200. It's Travis Dart, John Dart. They're following one another, and they're making the outside lane work.
They have made it work, Sam, and look at this big run from the outside. Travis Dart and John Dart, the family, they're going to the front as they have now pushed their way forward. Cameron Sartin there also, the same for the 29 Sicchetti. That group there is lined up very well, and Chris Esri down low, I think in the 10 there, that second car line pushing Ken Campbell. He is definitely trying to get up there probably to get with his teammates.
There's one driver that I'm kind of getting a little bit concerned about. It's the fourth in line, that of Cole Sicchetti. He's not breaking away. He continues to try to pinch the drivers on the inside, which is kind of starting to stall out that outside lane from at least moving ahead, finally giving a little bit of space, and there they go. Glass doing a very similar thing. And Zach, I mean, it's kind of interesting to watch the different driver attempts and styles on how they want to attack one another. And that certainly was giving me a little bit of a head-scratching moment on how these drivers are trying to pinch one another, even though the side drafting is so strong and can backfire in an instant.
Oh, it definitely could backfire in a real quick instance. You see the pink now 10 jump up there in the back of this group here. That's Chris Esri with all of his teammates up ahead of now put themselves up in the lead. But the question is, they're sticking to the middle line. They're trying to hold this middle groove and try to, make this the fast way around. And this is an interesting concept. A lot of times in sim racing, it's tough to do this without having someone jump to your inside here to make something happen. But now I think this group here, Dylan Grimm going to jump to the inside of that 29 Sicchetti along with Nate Lynch, who jumped up top. That's going to open up the middle for Chris Esri now, and that's just going to line up more teammates.
Teammates are loving this in line. You can see the flames working with one another. As on the outside, going to be Nate Lynch just dropping back, losing ground. But it's going to be your front five all working and loving the action that they're having. But it's behind them. They got to be careful. There's 3 wide still going on in that inside lane. It's with Dylan Graham leading that group. They are losing ground. And Zach, this is just looking more and more like how NASCAR looks like on our TVs. I mean, drivers on the outside looking strong, the inside lane struggling. And as well, like we see on TV, the second pack, they've fallen back and they are just in the waiting with Timmy McNally leading the charge.
Yeah, McNally doing a good job there leading that bottom lane, and they were actually a little bit quicker than the leaders the last few times by, so they are starting to gain a little bit of ground up on them. And, you know, right now they're 3 seconds back, about really 2 seconds back from the draft, or really 2 seconds back from the last car of that pack. And they should start to catch a draft. About a second and a half back from them, they will get a good head of steam build up. The only problem is right now is we're going to hop on board here with Andrew Medlin's Folk Machine, is that outside lane, I think, just pulling back that inside line possibly just a little.
Medlin focuses always, and being the lead driver, I mean, Zach, when you have these different lanes, you got the inside and the outside, potentially could go 3 wide going up against the wall. When you're a lead driver, what is the primary goal for these drivers? What can you do to maybe assist everyone else around you?
Well, there's actually a lot of things that you actually have the power to do as a driver to help that driver behind you. First of all is holding a steady wheel, as they would say. You know, you got to be able to drive straight. If you're all over the place, left, right, back and forth down the straightaways and into the corners, that driver behind you that's trying to draft off you and make you go forward, they got to follow you, and that's where you start seeing these wiggles back and forth from lines. It starts usually with one driver, it leads to the accordion effect of other drivers doing it. But a good job you can do, like I said, holding that wheel steady there. But also, if you're running that bottom line, a lot of drivers you'll see leading that line, they'll give about a half, you know, a tire width to almost a full tire width of a lane there to the yellow line to let that second car in line see that yellow line. That kind of helps guide them because they can't see up ahead of them. When you're directly behind someone, as you see Kyle McCoy just shoving Andrew Bell on the outside line, when you're directly behind someone like that, though, you cannot see up in front of you. It is pretty much a blind sight. You can just see your peripherals, and it's definitely an interesting scenario, and you know these drivers have to deal with that. But man, right now this second pack, they are catching up, Sam, but they're scaring me a little bit too.
Yeah, they certainly are scaring. I mean, it's one of those things where you can tell they want to get aggressive, they want to start moving forward, but they're just far enough back where they're not getting that draft help. It's 15th, our top 15 going to be in this lead group, and then this pack that we're watching right now, this is 16th on back. And this also a neat, you know, thing about this group. Everyone that's a part of this second pack, I mean, from 16th on back, pitted on that last race, pitted on that last caution. So they all are in the similar strategy of trying to turn this race into a one-stop. There are 2 drivers, though, attached to this group. Bill Dart back in 23rd, 24th, bouncing back and forth, as well as that of George Kovacic. Those are the 2 drivers that did not pit that are part of this group, so they're in a very dangerous spot if they're looking, if this race stays green, to make sure that they are in a position to potentially win.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be by yourself for pit strategy. That is one thing. When you get left out going down the pit road, you have to come down all by yourself or with even a limited group of drivers. You know, if you only got 2 or 3 cars, it's a tough time out there. You got to produce speed, and you can quickly go a lap down here at at Talladega, where you know, it's just very quickly about that draft and staying up in the numbers here. As we're watching Offerman draft with that 31 machine there of Trey Jackson back here in the 29th position. This is that 3rd set of group, and they're about 2 seconds back from that group up ahead of them, and they're kind of hanging back here. I think these guys are just kind of riding it out though.
Yeah, riding it out. It's a strategy of trying to just keep yourself out of trouble, and especially with the group of drivers that are around this area, they're ones that are in a must-win scenario. I mean, you've got Trey Jackson, who's feeling good points-wise for himself, but you got Derek Offerman, Brett Solmers, Patrick Hastings, Jacob Grattan, as well as George Kovacic. All those drivers, besides the 31, are outside looking into this tonight, trying to make it into the playoffs, and there's only 1 spot open. So all of them trying to make sure they're in a position to potentially win, but it's going to be a lot of work for themselves as they're catching up now to this group that's being led, as you see there, by the 88 Skittles machine of Tim McNally. Also Scott Rickard going to be those drivers. You got Tim McNally, who finally got a win after last season. Had so many woes, had great qualifying runs, had chances of wins, but would always find some poor luck. And the driver that's found himself to be tied with the most wins coming into tonight, that is Scott Rickard, going to be our points leader technically into tonight, just pushing the 88, trying to figure out how do they catch up to this lead pack.
Yeah, this is they're catching up. They've continued to catch up slowly, but the big thing for them is majority of the drivers up in this lead pack are running the middle groove. And I tell you what, that team up front, Travis Dart, John Dart, Cameron Sarton, Cole Sacchetti, Chris Essery, that group of 5 there has pretty much Pied Piper in the field. They have put everybody to trance where they're going to run the middle line, and nobody's been able to make the bottom work to get around them. So we'll see what they can do. As Nate Lynch is actually the first one in the 25 to jump down, and we'll see what they can produce. But yeah, King Campbell there, you see on the inside, he hasn't been able to get nothing done yet. But you got to be thinking drivers like Dylan Grimm, Nick Holland, all of them seeing Travis start leading this race, that has got to make their stomach turn. They know if he wins, they are out of their playoff contention.
Well, the big thing for Travis Dart that he's up front is he is going for the most laps led. That is the points that he's trying to get. He's already gotten 1 point of leading a lap. That's a great bonus point to be grabbing. Now, instead of being 13 points out from the bubble of Dylan Grimm, now is trying to aim to get an extra 3 more points that could be putting that of Travis Dart only being 9 points back if he gets the most laps led. I mean, that is so much more helpful if you are just 9 points out instead of a total of 13 like the 209 was coming into the night. As that inside lane shuffles up, a little bit of gridlock. They got to hold on as everyone shuffles, gets out of the throttle. And just like that, that little bit of a bobble, it has now attached the whole entire field back with one another.
That it has, Sam, because you're going to see this second group quickly come into the picture here as they keep getting ahead of the steam there from the draft up ahead. But man, oh man, this is got a little bit hairy there on the inside with Dylan Glass in that 25 and Nate Lynch, just a little bit too much bumping, and great heads up job by the 25, the 15, and that 53 of Christopher Wade there to check up and not cause an incident. But that checkup, like you said, it's brought that second pack right within grasp of them now. Is we're looking to be about pretty much all the way back to the 30 or no, sorry, all the way back to the 34 position. Everybody's caught up, even that smaller pack behind them.
Yeah, everyone just attached to one another at this point. Saw a little bit of a disbursement. I think that we're starting to see it again further back, but everyone's giving each other plenty of space just in case something happens as we ride on the inside of the 69. And Martin Perry getting a sense that the driver's trying to follow suit. And Zach, they certainly have tried NASCAR to allow a little bit more vision for the drivers, for those that are sitting and looking back through their mirrors. You saw there the spoiler getting a little bit of a clear tint so you can look through your mirror and actually see the drivers behind. But I mean, when you're riding in like where we are for this of Perry, I mean, you cannot see anything directly in front of the other driver, even with where Perry's at. I mean, he's got to be full trusting completely as they're checking up once more through the center of the corner.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Perry, he's the 5th car in line here, and he can't see more than 2 cars ahead of him. I mean, you see he's got directly ahead Christopher Wade there, and then King Campbell in the back car, but he can't even see Nate Lynch or the 42 of Dylan Glass is leading that line. So you really got to depend on the guy ahead of you giving you those cues to slow down. You know, if they check up at the right time, it usually gives you enough time to check up also. So it's one of those accordion effects that usually happen here at Talladega, and it's what really makes the racing here very, very tough to do. It's not just holding it wide open. It's that accordion effect of people checking up and almost running each other over.
And make sure they're not just throwing this race away. And as we're looking at this field right now, I mean, on board with Perry still getting a sense of just the inside lane. You're also going to be seeing that of Brian Chu, who's on the outside. But it's the teamwork up front, Zach, that has been looking the most dominating currently right now. And with no surprise, especially with the way that this aero package is, if you get teammates in line, and even if you just have 3 teammates, you're feeling comfortable. But to have 5 teammates in line with one another, I mean, this is feeling like you've got a giant wall that no one's got a chance. A little bit of contact, though, in the middle in that lead pack. They jostle. It's Nate Lynch who's going to go down to the inside, but it was Glass going into the outside, hitting that of Kovacic. And that little bit of contact now jostles this field into that of Arcina breakaway of our front 3, but they're 3 wide further back.
Yeah, that literally broke everything up there with Dylan Glass and Nate Lynch there again, once again being the catalyst to our checkup there. And man, that could have got pretty catastrophic there as Nate Lynch had to make evasive maneuvers. But Oh, even had some more contact even farther back in the field between Martin Perry and Brian Chu in the 11. So definitely a little bit of door in there between those two as everybody tries to figure it out now as that checkup happened. But Sam, what I'm noticing, we're already 27 laps into this run here, and we're nearing a point where drivers are going to have to start to be thinking about pit stops. So, man, if you're a driver like King Campbell, Christopher Wade, the drivers that stayed out there before, they're going to be in a tough predicament here when they have to pit.
It's going to be our front 11 currently that all still did not pit under that last yellow. And then it's going to be that of Martin Perry, Nick Holland, and Doug Pierce that are 14th, 15th, and 16th currently. They're also going to have to come to pit road with that of Dylan Grimm in 21st, also Bill Dart in 24th, and then you have to drop all the way back to that of George Kovacic in that 32nd position. Those are all your drivers that are going to have to pit here first. The question is, for being led by Andrew Medlin and Tumi McNally, those are the drivers that already went to the pit road. When are they going to have to come in, and when are they going to come in just a lap after? Push it until they're empty, as you see the drivers that are in 32nd, 33rd, and 34th on track. That of Kovacic, Hasty, and Jackson being 4.4 seconds away from our lead pack. That jostle, it hurt these three the most.
Yeah, it really did hurt these three as they fell way back from the group, but back up front, still our leader staying up in that middle groove. That has been the decision, and I got to give him credit. That middle line is very, very quick here, and it seems to be the way to go. The bottom has not been able to really even get past Chris Essery. I mean, Chris Essery is the last of that team there up front, and they have not been able to get past them. I mean, Nate Lynch and Dylan Glass tied everything. They get right up to the 10 and the 29, and then from there, they could never get past really that fourth car.
I'm kind of concerned, though, with Nate Lynch being the lead driver. I know he's been having a little bit of blinking issues, as well as some of the drivers that are up front have been having issues as well. And that is going to be a little bit of a concern to see the teammates breaking up. You're seeing drivers pop in and out, playing a little bit of peekaboo. They're hoping that they can settle their internet down and get things settled in. But this is incredible to see. It's been a pleasure to watch. Travis Dart, John Dart. This is the most they've been up front for the majority of the season, and they are doing a great job being our front two. And honestly, you got to give credit also to the teammates behind, trying to give every opportunity for those two to be up front. But they both seem to be blinking at the same time, showing that if one bad internet issue happens, it might wipe out both of the darts out of this race.
Yeah, that is a very scary sight to see. You normally see one car blink, but when you see two of them do it together, there they go round.
Sacchetti, Medlin, as well as McNally and others. The big one striking in the middle of the field. And just like that, the middle of the front pack destroyed, mangled, and they're still trying to get themselves settled down.
Oh, no, Sam. That's exactly what we worried about, and it looks like it was contact between Sacchetti and Christopher Wade who brought that out. And, man, ooh, tough damage for a lot of guys. Fast repair is going to have to be used for a few of these drivers.
Absolutely. I would imagine for that of seeing Tim McNally and others as we take an instant replay on what happened here. It all starts around the 29, who just goes down a little bit too far and finds himself being spun around, and everyone else just along for the ride.
Yeah, you're going to see just major carnage here from this point. McNally coming back up, Medlin. Oh, and look at that car.
Oh, my goodness,
there.
Sidlow.
Who was that? Was that Sidlow?
That was Sidlow who said, you know what, I'm just going to drift this out. I see a hole. Let's just go down and hope for the best.
Burchett makes it through up top there also. Woo! So great jobs by everybody. By a few drivers that are really making it through that smoke show.
I mean, that's the one thing. When the big one strikes, drivers have two mentalities. It's, I'm going to full throttle my way through this and hope a hole opens up, or I'm going to slam on my brakes and try to hope the hole opens up. You're always banking on that hole just somehow opening, as we're going to ride on board with the 6 here of Sidlow. Get a sense of drifting through the madness, seeing smoke, drivers coming out of nowhere, and then in an instant gets a tap from the 33, and luckily he's going to find himself cutting through at least one, going far enough down low, trying to get by that of Perry, and does. No contact for the 6 as he makes it out of the carnage.
Well, I'll tell you what, you better send Brian Burchett a Christmas card, because that little bump helped him there. That perfectly sent them down the racetrack, and Burchett made it too. So very impressive from that group. And man, Sam, I tell you what, Sidlow, he's going to be counting his blessings there, because you don't usually make them through those like that.
Oh, absolutely not. Those are one of those stylish ones that you could just throw on any type of drifting music, and you're just like, all right, there's my highlight reel for the night. I survived. As we are under our second caution of the night, we're coming up to halfway. We're actually going to step aside really quick. When we come back, more racing action here for that of the Next Level Racing 200, as Brett Sommers did not come into pit road and the rest of the field did. We'll come back with talking about what just went down. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the Stars and Stripes Cup Series here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me, Zach Hall. Robert Moyer running productions. We are under our second caution of the night. Most of the field went into pit road except for one driver. Brett Sommers did not come into pit road. The last time we came into pit road was 26 laps ago under our first yellow of the night, as this is the last race of the regular season, race number 15 for season 4. It's all about who will be making it to the playoffs, and a late exit. It's going to be that of Brian Burchett in the 33, disconnected with packet loss. He's going to try to get back into the race, but could be going multiple laps down as the drivers are set, getting ready to go green. It's the 17 and the 15, your front two, as we are about to go green. And it's already going to be seeing a couple of drivers behind blinking in that second row, which is always going to be a little treacherous to watch as they go down into turn number 1.
Yeah, you can see that outside line got the really good run. And again, there a little bit of network issues for Travis starting at 209. That continues to happen for him. But the 15 of Kate Campbell shot out of a cannon. And Brett Sommers just dropping back like a rock here soon.
I mean, just doesn't have the draft help. I think that's the big thing, and also needs to be getting himself in line, try to save some fuel because he's about to need a caution real quick, or he's going to be finding himself having to pit by himself in the next 8 laps or so. It is a treacherous moment to be finding for that 17.
Yeah, very questionable for him not to come down the pit road and at least put fuel in that race car. So, yeah, questionable call for Brett Somers there, right on the cut line, especially, not that many points back from Dylan Grimm. Definitely, I guess trying to go for the strategy of leading the lap to get some points. But man, that's a tough way to do it. If you're going to lose the draft and have to come down pit road by yourself, it's going to be a tough night. But I think these drivers have figured out something, Sam. The middle line has become the preferred place to be. As Kid Campbell, he's not the the leader of that team that was up front before, but he's leading that team. So they've
Yeah.
still stuck to that middle line, and it's just working well. As the bottom line, like we talked about under caution, really there under commercial, they just hadn't had the numbers.
I mean, the middle line is so much more preferred for those that are running behind the leader. I mean, you can easily see when the turn's coming, you're just following the driver ahead of you, but it's all in the iRacing aero package that has been placed on these cars. I mean, previously, before this most recent aero package update, it was just single file, stay down low, and you hope that you're in the right position because the choo-choo train's just moving, and you weren't really able to make any last lap moves. Really, it was just, well, you're in the position you're in. As Glass gets out of control for a quick moment, they're jostling and bobbling. Nate Lynch able to hold on as, again, the middle of the lead pack. That's where the most dangerous is, as drivers are so in the mindset of, I need to lead the race, and I'll make any move if there's an opening.
Yeah, we've seen some interesting scenarios so far, and with everybody pitting there at lap 31 too, there, Sam, this puts this race into definitely a one stop for these drivers. They're not going to make it to the end there from that 31, but it's going to put them in an interesting scenario. Do they pit when they know they can make it? We've seen that strategy played so many times here at the road course, just kind of running the race backwards. As soon as you know you can make that fuel window to the end, you come down pit road. We could possibly see that being played out, but man, we've also seen this packs here. They are pretty wild, and it could be faster just to stay in this pack.
Well, I think if anything, you might be thinking about potentially, if you know your window on the length that you have to go, don't just go for when the regulation time is over. Go when the furthest you could potentially go on a green, white, checkered. Again, these drivers only have one attempt of a overtime for themselves, so they've got a window to look for. That's going to be around lap 79 to 80 is going to be the furthest these drivers can go, and then you work backwards from there. I think that would probably be my indication of where do I want to pit around that spot, which would be around that lap 40 marker. I think for a lot of these drivers, they get around lap 40 to 43. I would take, if you've got about 6 to 7 other drivers with you that feel comfortable coming into pit road, I think that would be a decent place to come in if we stay green, because then even if yellow comes out, you can take that track position, stay out, you're still good on fuel.
Yeah, I love that strategy, Sam. Personally, putting the buffer in between you and especially that one green, white checkered, that's always a smart situation to do. You never want to hit pit road personally exactly when you feel like you can make it. Even if you get that caution there in the race to help you save a little bit of fuel, you don't want to be ever that close and have to worry about sputtering coming back to a green, white checkered. So always want to have a little bit of buffer zone. I think that's what most will play. We could see others stretch it out, but look at this. We're going to have a move finally for the lead here. Is King Campbell. He's got left out the dry. It's going to be Travis Starr and Chris Estrie, the two teammates dropping low here in front of Brian Chu in the 11 machine as the inside is surging forward.
They're surging forward. They're finding that speed. And we were talking about where was the speed truly for these drivers under that commercial break, and was wondering, was it just because the middle lane was so fast? Where was that inside row? And you saw it there. All you got to do is just give a little bit of spacing for that lead driver. They lose all that momentum, and just like that, the inside lane, the fastest where you want to be currently, as everyone's still jostling on where they're at. But it's Brian Chu, one of our biggest movers of the race, up 22 positions up in third. The 11 trying to go for the lead as they'll move up to the middle spot, having that of Andrew Medlin following behind.
Yeah, Medlin's also worked his way forward in that 12 machine there, and we're seeing some pretty aggressive moves, changing lanes here now. Chu and Medlin going to drop low, try to make something happen here on the duo of Essery and Dart, but they're going to have King Campbell up top to help that duo. So we'll see how it plays out here through 1 and 2, but getting a little dicey there. Dylan Glass even making some moves, and again, a little bit of connection issue for John Dart and Travis Dart. That is where they're at in the track stand, that is a dangerous point to have. And we're even having some Dyson moves back there with Kyle McCoy. Wow, that got close.
McCoy finally able to find a position to drop down to Derek Offerman stuck on that high line. Well, there's some drivers in this lead pack, at least in the top 20, that have already used their fast repairs. The highest runner of those going to be Andrew Medlin in the 12, going to be the second car on the inside. That 12 already has used the fast repair. You drop even further down, you find that of Kyle McCoy, who's already used the fast repair for the 7. He's now on the surge, finding help with that of Derek Offerman. They're now starting to make that third lane work just by themselves, which is incredible to see. Usually in that old pack, you need at least 5 other cars in line to work, but Zach, they're getting it done just by themselves.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Sam. You would have needed a lot more cars in our older package here. They're getting it done, though, using that outer groove. They're getting a little bit of draft from those bottom lanes and even side draft in that middle lane to pull them back. So 2 cars right now actually making moves up top by themselves. You would think someone has seen that happening and they would go up there with them. As we can see, 3 lanes can clearly work here at Talladega very well. And right there, Medlin and Glass just getting super close twice in the corner. It's getting a little bit dicey there with that 3-wide action.
It absolutely is, as the driver's going to go completely down. That's Brett Sommers again, who is going to be forced to come to pit road and will do so. As the 17 going to have to come into pit road, and that has to be so demoralizing, knowing that you're now going to have a caution if you want to get back into this race. Also of note, the 33 of Brian Burchett still has not reconnected in, currently 8 laps down, struggling, as you hate to see that for a team that was in a must-win scenario.
Oh, you really hate to see that for sure. I mean, man, that's a tough deal to have for Brian Burchett there, who was, like you said, in that must-win scenario, and anything can happen at Talladega, so you never want to see that get taken away from a driver. But, man, that inside line, we've seen Brian Shue lead his way up there with Andrew Medlin. But, again, we see it can get up there if the outside line starts to make moves. People start making moves from that outside line. As soon as Travis Dart and Chris Estrie made a move, the inside line charges up to the front, and because that middle line losing the momentum. And right now we're seeing Kyle McCoy, who leads that inside line, and just continuously dropping back. It's just tough for them to be able to hold station as well. Aggressive side drafts there.
I think for McCoy, I think he thought there was a little bit more spacing, but gets into Paul House. House going to be up in the top 10. First time we've seen the 18 up in the top 10. He's been known and notorious since he's started racing again in the middle of the season. For that of Paul House to not qualify, starts all the way back, becoming our biggest mover, gets up to that at 15th, 12th, and then gets wrecked out. He's now cracked into the top 10, and 9th place is for Dr. House. And for that of the 18, feeling comfortable on the outside, but probably not a fan of being door slammed by the 7.
Yeah, that's something you never you want as a driver, Sam. It definitely will frustrate you to a full extent when you get hit in the door, especially when you're just kind of holding your lane. It'd be one thing if you're making big moves and you guys are hit each other's doors, but here at Talladega, everybody in the lane, you hope everybody can keep nice and straight. But look at this inside line. Going to pull down here is going to be Travis Dart with that group up front, and they're going to leave Dylan Glass out to dry up top. This is an interesting color here to drop to the bottom. This could be pit stops happening.
They're at least all in line, and they are inside of that window we were talking about of right at the cusp of being good, even if we had a late yellow that put us into the latest overtime attempt possible. The driver's dropping low, and usually the indication of pit road stops is when everyone starts to single file up front, but we're still side by side. And for poor Brett Sommers, he's in trouble. He's that lone driver in front of our leaders that's just hoping he doesn't go a lap down. And if he does, he's got to bank that he becomes at least just a first car lap down. As the 17, he's going to move up high as the leaders are closing in.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting scenario for Brett Sommers there, that closest driver with points coming into tonight. And we'll see if he can stay up here in line as the top line is pulling up to him, but they're going to pull down low now, and they're going to go by here as they head down into 3 and 4. And for the 17th Sommers, he's going to have to hope for some type of help here with most likely a caution, as he probably will be all by himself once everybody hits pit road.
Again, goal, make sure that the 17 is ahead of the 65 of George Kovacic, and George Kovacic going to be at the tail end of the even second pack. So right now, 17 being 3 wide, not the worst thing in the world, but you certainly want to get everyone in line, because that side draft could cause all 3 of these drivers to lose ground. As you see, Perry going to be moving up to the high line, just trying to get any type of draft to pull these cars along. And for the leaders even further up ahead, it's going to be that of Chu, that of McCoy, and as well Glass, forcing it 3 wide in the middle of this lead pack.
Oh, this is going to get a little dicey. Look at this medley, maybe even 4 wide for there for a moment. It is now. Yes, it will be 4 wide as McCoy. Glass up top. McNally down low with Nate Lynch. This is going to get a little bit wild here as everybody's still making it through. Somehow we made it work.
Well, they made it 4 wide. They thought about testing 5 wide for a quick bumper, but then they thought better of it. Still 3 wide jostling going on. And you see some drivers that are already, because of the points that have been thrown out already here tonight, we can confirm that the fact that of Kyle Bowling is good to be locked in. For Trey Jackson, though, he still needs at least a couple of more positions or more drivers to be taken out of this race for himself to be done. Another driver I want to give note that is coming out of pit road, and this is an emergency stop for himself. That is going to be Nick Holland, the 68, who was kind of in a must-win scenario coming in tonight. Could have pointed his way in. It was not looking good strength-wise. The 68 struggling. And speaking of struggling, you saw the 88, Tim McNally, getting a little dicey with the wrong bump through the corner.
Now you're going to see McCoy them go high and put him in the sucker hole there in the middle lane, and he's going to look to go backwards as this again dices everything up a little bit more. And you know, Sam, when I saw that group drop down low, I was pretty for sure they were going to hit pit road and make that decision. But I think they're kind of waiting it out right now. They wanted to get low just in case a group started to pit, so they can make that decision to come with them or you know, throw that audible down. So definitely interesting to see all these strategies being paid out. Look there, that's the 44 Kyle Bowen. Haven't talked about him much tonight. Started back in 22nd up to 10th there beside Derek Hoffman, who's worked his way up from 32nd to 11th.
Isn't that Boyling's like favorite thing to do? Always be under the radar and just, he's up front, but we're never really talking about him being a race winner or a threat. But coming to the end of the race, he's always up in the top 5 or top 10 at the end of the day. And once again, there as drivers pit road, here they all come dashing into with one another. It's going to be that of Travis Dart and that whole entire Flame crew working with one another. And Brett Summers coming in with this group as well. A little bit of a weird that spot for the 17 who had already come in is going to be a lap down and now will no longer be the first car a lap down.
Yeah, this is what I would call a head scratcher, Sam. I do not know what that call is. Maybe just trying to get out there with this group, but yeah, I mean that's a lot of time to be giving up. You know, rather just lose the time by naturally not being by yourself. But tell you who did make a mistake, it was the 209 Travis Starter. He did slide to his box a little bit. Lucky for his sake, though, he's still got teammates Cole Sketty and John Dart there directly behind next to the crew.
And no drivers caught with speeding. That's another big thing. Black flags. You do not want to come in too fast. And as well, you do not want to get yourself losing time by sliding through your box. On top of that, you do not want to be getting yourself any type of exiting out of pit road issues for themselves. Drivers keeping themselves out of trouble is going to be the goal when you come into pit road, as everyone else, they're just going to be thinking about cycling through their pit boxes at some point. Everyone still needing to come into pit road for those who are in the top 22. As well, we're coming up to 25 laps to go here, Zach, when they cross the line.
Yeah, 25 to go here, like you said, when they cross the line, Sam, and that's when the wick is going to get turned up, and these drivers still yet to make a pit stop here. They're waiting to turn it up, and that group who did it, they're going to be trying to put down burner laps, see if they can get a gap built up. And I'm surprised we haven't seen more drivers elect to hit pit road directly after that group. I mean, it's usually the most played out strategy is that reverse style pit stop. Pit is, you know, when you can make it in as early as possible. But this group out here electing to do a little bit different here. They're going to be able to go a considerable distance longer. They've only been out here for 20 laps. They, at least in my opinion, could go for about another 12 to possibly even 13 to 14.
And also we're going to have to keep an eye on is what are the lap times going to look like, as the 77 of Bill Dart going to be put a lap down, as Nate Lynch going to be leading our lead group currently right now. And if this large pack up front, if they continue to stay together and stay for a couple of laps, this is also going to be a good marker. Like I said, what are the lap time differences going to be for the drivers that just came into pit road compared to those that decided to stay out for an extra couple of laps?
Yeah, that is going to be the critical point for sure. And Travis Dart, our first lap from him around a 49.80 for him, while the leader of Nate Lynch a 49.83. So pretty much matching lap times, a little bit quicker actually from that group of drivers who have pitted. So we'll see what they can do. Can they build a gap here? Because if they are building a gap, Sam, if they get enough of that gap built, it's going to be tough for this pack to even catch up.
Yeah, that's the big thing. That's the advantage of coming in early with a group of teammates and allies is you're a much smaller group, but you can stay a lot more closer with one another. You're not side drafting like we're seeing our leaders that are going to be forced 3 wide with that of Paul House is going to be stuck on the high side. Not the best pit stop for the 18. And that's going to continue to be the issue of our leaders are going to stay side by side. Their goals are not to put down the fastest laps possible. That's what Chris Essery, Cameron Sarton, and that other group that I've already come to pit road, that is their goal, is to put down fast laps to build up a big enough lead, to try to have a big enough lead this pack that is going to have to come to pit road, cannot catch up to. As you also take a look at the manufacturers, got a good mix of Toyota, Chevys, and a little bit of Fords mixed in between everyone that's out there on track.
Yeah, it's definitely a good mixture there. Always a lot of Chevrolets, it seems, in leagues, especially once Freaky Fast broadcasts. But yeah, always good to see the manufacturer, differences out there. But right now, Offerman, he's worked that way down low on that bottom line, and he's been able to hold station there. But Medlin jumped up top now, and he's going to lead that outside line with Brian Lynch. But still, nobody yet to fold here to pit. And, the longer they wait, I think the worse this gets for him right now. Looking even at this, Andrew Medlin there, right there last time by, or sorry, Derek Offerman, who was our leader, was a 49.92. And looking back at Travis Dart in that group, that's a 49.56 for that group. So, I mean, they're putting in actually a pretty good amount of time in compared to this group here. We could see a couple second gap here possibly build up if this group does not come down pit road and stop that lead.
Yeah, that's the big I mean, that's another thing I'm watching out. It's just a couple of tenths here or there, but that certainly adds up the longer you stay out. And when are they going to come into pit road? And as well, I mean, the drivers are also talking over the radio. They're wondering, when will the next big one strike? And we've seen it already kind of happen on track where we saw multiple drivers involved and could be counted as the big one here tonight. But also, Zach, coming into pit road, if drivers are not aware of who's coming in, that could also be a spot where we can see another big one strike.
No, it definitely could. Pit road is always a dangerous spot, man. I'm telling you. And, we've seen the team strategies where you alluded to it, Sam. As actually, this pack back here did have a little bit of mistake back there near Timmy McNally. I'm unsure who was slowed up. It looks like Patrick Hasty again, and a 9 who was involved in something there. So he's a little bit slow there in the corner, but luckily they keep it straight with him and Martin Perry making major contact. Somehow Dylan Grimm actually made it through that.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Grimm, that's a big scare for himself that was involved with that incident, but it's going to be that Patrick Hasty, who still has a faster pair, but is going to need a yellow as our leaders continue to stay out on track. Of note, driver came in by himself. That it's going to be Mike Lynch in the 2, but the drivers up front still side by side for our leaders, as you see that of the 05, Scott Rickard, also Doug Pierce, Max Ward, single file out, just watching the madness ahead of them and hoping everyone can keep neat and tidy and they're not going to be just throwing each other away and causing a big one as the laps continue to tick away. 20 laps to go, coming up to 19 when they come across the line.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the more and more I watch these lap times being turned by that group that already pitted back in the 22nd position at Chris Essery, this is going to be very detrimental for these leaders if they do not hit pit road soon, because they're losing at least a tenth, 2 tenths each and every lap. And like you alluded to before, Sam, that adds up. And if you drop back 2-3 seconds, you're not getting that draft anymore. You're not getting that toe that will help pull you back up to this group that we look up to now. And that's going to be a tough deal for them, because they're going to be racing trying to get back up to this group, while these drivers all right here in this group are going to be looking to work together here to make it to that end of this race. And I tell you, for the rest of the group out there, they got to be thinking of what they want to do. But it's hard to tell how fast that group is running compared to you when you're out here just running laps by yourself.
Yeah, that's when you have those spotters or someone that's outside looking at and giving you that numbers. And right now, it's been about a tenth or 2 tenths each lap that's been gained by this group that we're watching right now. Chris Essery that came into pit road earlier. And you look at the times they're being placed compared to when they came into pit road. I think they all had about a tenth on top of this pack coming into pit road. And you take away a lap because of Oh, everyone's cycling through as yellow flag strikes, and it's going to be the middle of that lead pack. Carnage going to be happening there. Doug Pearson, other slow, and a yellow strikes, and this changes everything.
That it does, Sam. This is exactly what we were waiting for to happen there. And yeah, Doug Pierce in that 39 machine. Looks like he got some contact there between, I believe that was, Max Ward in the 59. So looks like Max Ward maybe got into that rear bumper just a little bit as there was a checkup, and sent that 39 around from spinning from there. And oh no, I think everybody makes it through. Luckily, it got close for a few guys coming up from that second pack that was behind there. Oh, that could have been detrimental times. But Sam, I tell you what, this is going to bring them all to pit road, but also that group that started pitting, they should cycle to the lead.
You should be all right not having to come into pit road, but do you want to come in for tires? That's something that we haven't talked about a lot and usually isn't a factor, but it could give you a chance to make some bold moves. As the field's racing to the pace car, we're going to step aside, take our final commercial break of the evening, and we come back. It's the Take It to the End. Who's making it to the playoffs here for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series Season 4, race number 15, and we'll find out in just a few. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series, last race of the regular season, and we are green, as it's going to be that of Andrew Medlin, Derek Offerman, Chris Essery, Brian Lynch, and as well, Cameron Sartin going to be your top 5, ready to be racing. But it's honestly, look at the field and where they're running, it's just our top 12 currently in this lead pack, as there was such a jostling, and these restarts have been so unpredictable. The drivers have not been able to get up to speed, and it's been a wild one. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, running Productions here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And Zach, we're starting to see it. There's no more give, it's all take. And here we go, a pass for the lead potentially.
Oh, man, they have definitely been making some crazy moves. You're going to see Sartin and Essery, the two teammates there up top, trying to make something happen for that team. But, man, they cannot do it now as they're going to be dropping back. But, yeah, when we came back for commercial, they were 3 wide, and they're 3 wide again now here coming out of 4s. It's going to be Brian Lynch in the middle, John Dart on the bottom, Cameron starting up top on the wall with Brian Chu pushing that 24 forward, as they also got the 209 Travis Dart there, so a little bit separated from the teammates, but it's 3 wide still.
They're trying to figure out how do we get in line. Is Chu extremely loose and holds on to the entry of the corner. That 11 was out of control, but able to hold strong and able to get in line. But honestly, I'm looking at that of Travis Dart, John Dart, both still having internet woes that are blinking and causing other drivers to not feel confident working with them. But Zach, the side drafting, it's costing that of Chu and others. They've got to get in line quick because they're slowly losing that lead pack.
No, they definitely need to get in line quick, because look at this. Yeah, like you said, they're slowing down very quickly, being side by side like that. And we're seeing these front group jump up in line here, and Andrew Medlin takes control. But Derek Offerman's the one we got to be looking at here, Sammy. Travis Dart is, drop back now. They're a good few spots, but Derek Offerman up to second here. He made the playoffs last season in the Xfinity Series. He was so good last season. I mean, just had so many great runs. This season, it hasn't been put together for him. It's just been on off time for him. As Kent Campbell gets put through the sucker hole there in the 15 in that second pack. But, man, can Derek Offerman come out of here with a clutch victory to pull this off and make it into the playoffs?
Offerman wants the best, as they're still going to be 3 wide, catching up to our front 5 currently right now. It's going to be that of Brian Chu, as well as that of Brian Lynch, Nate Lynch, Travis Dart, Chris Essery closing in on our front runners. And you're also going to be seeing some drivers up front that had incredible saves. That of Adam Sidlow. He's still up in this lead pack. We saw him get a help and a shove that got him sideways, getting through one of our biggest wrecks of the night. And now he's up in our top 10. But like you said, that of Derek Offerman, he's had such off weeks this whole entire season. Finds himself being outside of of our bubble spot by 32 positions. He needed a miracle run, practically needed a must-win for tonight, and finds himself in a prime position. 10 laps to go in second place, but there's no more help behind. It's that outer lane. They're up to speed, and it's the 44 of Kyle Bowling who's trying to go for his first win in over 2 seasons.
Yeah, Kyle Bowling, he's been trying to get that win for, like you said, 2 seasons now. This could be the time to do it here at Talladega, and what a way it would be to end the regular season and give him the momentum that he possibly could need. Because like we said, he has those sleeper runs, man. But he's going to need more than that if he wants to get back to the Final Four like he was last season. We'll see if he can do that here in the playoffs. But right now, trying to get that first victory of the season.
And as well, you've got John Dart going to be doing his best to try to make a run. The 66, one of those drivers that is in a must-win scenario. You'll look through most of this field, and they're all in a must-win spot. I mean, a must-win position practically. And if one of these drivers that are up front don't find themselves in a win, for that of Dylan Grimm, he's going to be a driver that is in a scary situation. He's in 21st spot, and if they finished where they are now, it would be that of Travis Dart pointing his way into that of the top 12.
What a way to do it would it be there, pointing his way in. That would be just what he needs to do. But, man, it's always tough to say what points will happen. But right now, Bowling taking control of that lead there. They're going to drop down with John Dart. And you got to think John Dart's going to be looking to maybe help Travis Dart, who's pushing that 25 forward, who's also trying to get this win. There are so many contenders here in these final 8 laps, Sam. This is going to be anybody's game as they continue to blink, and I think that's going to cause an issue.
Yeah, it's going to be finding our top 12 in this lead pack. Those that are not racing for a playoff potential spot if they get a win. You look at this group, there's only about 4 or 5 of them. It's going to be Brian Chu, Adam Sidlow, as well as feeling seeing that of Cameron Sarton, as well as that of Ken Campbell and Medlin Essery. Those are the only 5 drivers that are in the top 12 that if they win, they're either already locked in or they didn't show up enough for that win to count. The rest of the drivers that are up front, every single one of them, they're battling to make sure that they can take that one spot that's still open to be grabbed after coming into here tonight.
Nate Lynch to the point. He takes the lead, but he's going to have the teammates behind him. It's 3 of them right there. The 209, the 10, and the 13 all looking to make moves. Nate Lynch makes the block here. 7 to go. Back down to the inside for the 25. But we've seen how dominant that mid groove has been now. The 3 cars up on the outer groove. All teammates going to try to work together here. Ken Campbell is the 4th car in line now.
It is the worst case scenario. You've got the teammates in line. The Flame Grays are up front. It's Travis Dart, Chris Essery, and Cameron Sarn working with one another. John Dart's going to try to find a way to get up there, but it's going to be a lot harder to make a pass because, Zach, at this point, it's everyone against the teammates that are in our top 3. Because if you want a chance to pass them, everyone's got to get in line and just dump these top 3 on where they are, which is almost an impossibility because everyone's got their own mentality. 6 laps to go, and Travis Dart, who's had great qualifying runs, has not found the consistency. Now the Pied Piper up front, leading in this middle lane that has been the fastest almost all night long, and trying to find himself a win. But here comes Nate Lynch once again with our Daytona winner this season of Ken Campbell.
And look, yes, like you said, Ken Campbell, they're always known to be up here at these super speedways and the bigger racetracks, but that blinking is what's causing some issues, Sam. When he blinks out like that, he loses the draft of the Tim machine. They're pushing him, so he is not going to have the big run. But look at Derek Offerman. The 3rd lane is coming. We're coming to 5 to go. It's anybody's game here as it's starting to spread out.
And it's all about how do you pinch, how do you squeeze, and it's going to be that of Cameron Sarn trying to put a little bit of pressure on that outer lane. And it's going to be Derek Offerman coming with the outside lane. He's also going to be having that of Brian Lynch, Andrew Medlin, and potentially, and he does move up, it's going to be that of Brian Chu, and it's going to be 4 cars in line. In the inside row, you got 4. Middle, you got 4. The outer groove, they're the most compact, and they're moving forward. 4, 4, 4, 3 rows deep, and they're going to be spinning. Offerman goes around, the big one up front, wiping everyone out with 5 laps to go.
Wow, what a wild wreck there, and that is not what Offerman wanted to see. He was going to take the lead there, had a little bit of a bump there from the 24 and another one to send him around, and Brian Lynch trying to give him everything he can to push him to the lead, but just a little too much, Sam, and Travis Dart comes out with the lead while the rest of the field there just scatters as that wreck happens.
4 laps to go, and this has the opportunity. This has the opportunity, potentially, Zach, to be putting us into overtime now, as do want to give, no, we might not have the replay on this. Our system not giving us the replay just yet. We'll be a little bit more patient and see if it comes in just a few moments. But for right now, we do not have the replay if you're wanting to see it. As, man, chaos right now here, Zach, for the drivers up front with 4 laps to go, coming to 3 as they're trying to get to the pace car as soon as possible.
Yeah, and with all that happening there, Chris Essery took a huge hit in the Tim machine. I mean, just gigantic there from him. And also, Sarton was involved here as we're seeing it now in the Freaky Fast replay, the 20 there, and all that happened. Look at Nate Lynch, though, up the racetrack. Heavy hit for both of them there. And it's going to be fast repairs needed here. And luckily, I believe a good portion of them should have it, Sam. And we'll see how it works out, but definitely, Travis Dart losing a lot of his teammates there.
The pinch and the flip by the 12, and I believe most of the drivers that had already used their fast repairs were drivers that had already won and were already locked into the playoffs, so they're going to be either taking a tow or taking a fast repair, as you see, scraping through the wall. Hey, that's what underneath the track looks like for seeing here on the 12. Then it gets bumped once again by that of Brian Lynch, which gets that of Medlin back on all 4 for a quick moment. Then he decides to drift it on the side. But, Zach, this is putting a lot of these drivers in a spot where Travis Dart is not going to be seeing any teammates except for John Dart back in 6th. He's going to be a sitting duck here as the laps are still ticking around. We have the chance again. We're going to have to wait for the lights to go off, but we could be going into overtime here for these drivers.
Yeah, we very well could be, and I'm trying to look around and see, who around here needs this, But Brian Lynch, I'm looking at circling his name big time there in that 24. But look at Adam Sidlow in the 6. I mean, if we see that major incident he avoided early in the race. Could he go up here and steal him a victory? I mean, man, these are some names up here that we could see getting a first time victory. I'm excited for this. And then you got King Campbell, like we said, just, I mean, that guy's always there when it comes to these style races. So it's going to be wild to see how he pulls that off. But man, this is shaping up to be one of those stars and stripes finishes, Sim, that we know about.
Well, also, you can't count out. If you're on the lead lap, you still have a chance to win. That is the wild thing, and why this track is a wild card. And being the last race of the regular season, everyone has a chance to win here. There's some drivers that are in the top 10 that are in a must-win scenario, and they're feeling confident that they've got a shot to do this. With the major wreck up front, though, that gifts Dylan Grimm a lot of positions that he was needing to make sure that he could at least stay in a controls position as our bubble driver. So being up in 13th, he needs to get up to at least 8th to feel comfortable that no one else is going to be bumping him out, such as that Travis Dart that's leading. And then also you got Brian Lynch, who's outside of our top 12. He could have pointed his way in, but at this point in a must-win scenario, you're also going to be dropping down to 6th place, where we find John Dart in a must-win scenario. Trey Jackson is a driver that is where he runs now. He's automatically locked in, but Jason Gratton, he's in a must-win scenario. We could also see Steven Anderson, who's been a driver that's been running back in the top 25 all season long. The 99 has a chance to get a win here tonight.
I mean, yeah, like you said, anybody on this lead lap, they've got a shot. And this is I'm nervous. The driver inside of me comes out, and look, there it is. We get official word that it is going to be the one and only attempt at a green-white checkered. The lights are out in the pace car. We're going to go back green here. And oh, man, I just noticed. I didn't even notice that before. Brian Lynch, he has got no front end there. That is going to leave him a sitting duck on that outside line. That's going to set this up very interesting to see what King Campbell, Kyle Bowling, their second 2 cars in line there, try to do, because I think Travis Dart may be a sitting duck there, especially with his internet issues there he's still having. So, are you willing to stay behind a car that is having internet issues there coming to the checkered flag? I don't think you're going to see that.
No, it's full send. You're not letting off, as we are officially in overtime. This is our last restart of the night. If we get to the white flag, we race at the end. Any wrecks that happen, no yellow will be thrown at that point. But if we go green, and if we are in that first lap before we get the white flag and a yellow happens, then this race will end under yellow. We're hoping this goes to the white flag, and we get to see these drivers race it to the end. But Zach, with some of the moves that we've seen, some of the restarts we've seen, I would not be surprised if we get a quick yellow that doesn't allow us to race to the checkered flag.
And I think if you're Travis Dart, that's kind of what you're hoping for, because I think it's going to hold the lead down the back straightaway. I think when you go into 30, that's when stuff is going to get a little bit wild for him. I think we have a few guys setting it up, unless they try something early. But man, I am so nervous for Travis Dart's sake, because he's pretty much a sitting duck out here. But man, we've seen, in other leagues, other times here, calling races at super speedways, you could be sitting back there 15th to 20th, and you could easily win this race, just because if that white flag comes out, we see a wreck happen, we're coming back to the start finish line.
We're getting ready. We're getting prepared. Pace car's already showing the indication that we're going down to the pace into pit road, and the pacing going to be in the hands of Travis Dart on the inside for the 209. Thank you for joining us for 15 laps of regular season racing. Let's see who's making it to the playoffs for the Next Level Racing 200 here at Talladega. This is it, the final restart, and it's all on this. Who's going to get the best launch out? They wait, they're patient, but green flag is out. It's going to be Travis Dart. Great launch for himself, but it's the 15 of Ken Campbell. Didn't follow all the way suit, and they're already blinking here, Zach, and it is chaos whenever these drivers blink on who's going to be pushing into the 209 or the 66, because they're both blinking at the same time, and they're up in our top 6.
Yeah, and that outside lane stacking up with Brian Lynch there. I think this is where you might see an incident happen. If you're King Campbell, Kyle Bowling, you got to make something happen here very quickly to keep Travis Dart out of this here as King Campbell continues to push. Brian Lynch there dropping back super quickly in that inside lane. It's stacking up here, Sam.
It's hurting that of Adam Sidlow the worst, but in the middle lane, it's going to be the 7, that of McCoy, who's leading that charge. But who moves up? Is anyone going to follow suit? Jason Gratton up in 4th place in a must-win scenario, as well as we're going to be seeing our leader of Travis Dart trying to take the position away from that of Dylan Grimm. Grimm falling back to 11th. Grimm needs to finish in the top 8 to secure himself at least points-wise if Travis Dart doesn't win this race. But we are in our freaky fast white flag. This is it. They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through that of turn 2. Travis Dart, Ken Campbell, they're staying strong for now. Brad in 3rd place, and here we go, Zach, into the backstretch.
The back straightaway, here we go. First one to jump out is Derek Hoffman in the 20. He's looking for that victory. Who's going to help him to blink out from the leader of the 209 here? They're wrecking behind as they continue to go. It's going to be a group of about 7 drivers here for the finish coming out of 4.
It's going to be 7 drivers just waiting and pouncing, hoping for something. It's going to be Dylan Grimm, who's still attached to this group. Out of turn number 4. It's not at the tri-oval. It's after it. Here comes the run for the 20, though. It's going to be Derek Hoffman. Travis Dart trying to move up. They're going to be 3 wide, potentially 4 wide, but it's the 20. Derek Offerman out of nowhere. Dylan Grimm ducks it down, spins him, but it's Derek Offerman getting the win for the 20.
And that's going to knock Grimm out. That's good. Oh, that is. Oh, man, this mind-blowing. Travis Dart going to bring him 3rd, just a little bit short for the victory. And Sam, this is changing everything. Offerman here comes up clutch in the final regular season race.
It was pick your poison. I mean, Grimm had to pick. Did he want Offerman? Did he want Travis Dart? Or did he want Jason Gratton to win this race? All 3 of those drivers were outside looking in, and they all 3 finished in the top 5. And Grimm, Ken Campbell, they did their darnest to try to win this race, but it was the shoving, the pushing. Dylan Grimm helping Derek Offerman win, and one of the last drivers that had a chance to point his way in, practically had to win to get in, does so. Derek Offerman, after waiting so long to finally get himself into victory lane, wasn't able to get it done last season, and now could say that he is locked in to the Season 4 Stars and Stripes Cup Series playoffs after winning here at Talladega.
I mean, I tell you what, his point of view of that final green white checkered is going to be some pretty good material. You got to think, looking back, he was involved with that wreck that brought out this green white checkered. When he crossed the start finish line to take that green white checkered, he was 21st. He went from 21st to the lead, ladies and gentlemen. He locked them. It's actually took him out of the lead here from iRacing score. I don't understand that right there, but that is interesting.
I think it might have been the fact that he didn't cross the line to do celebrations. We're going to have to wait and see what's going on with that, because there's nothing on our end that's saying why Derek Offerman would be penalized here, as even race control's confused on what's going on. I'm presuming that this is going to be given back to Derek Offerman, as even Offerman is confused over race control. So unofficially, again, we're going to go with Derek Offerman, but because he didn't cross the finish line, we presume, and then started doing donuts, he might have been accidentally disqualified. So we're expecting race control to fix this, but Derek Offerman is our unofficial winner. We'll wait for confirmation later on here tonight as the 20 parks that he's done. But Zach, I mean, we're going to have to take a quick break, but when we come back, presumably we're going to have our top 3, which should be Derek Offerman, Dylan Grimm, and Travis Dart. We'll wait on race control to confirm that for us up in the booth, but we'll be back in just a few to confirm who's in, who's out, who's making it to the playoffs, and we'll be right back in just a few.
Well, we are back here, ladies and gentlemen, at the Stars and Stripes Racing League here at Talladega, and man, we had a interesting finish to tonight's race, and we still are actually up in the air for the official results. But looks like for now we're going to move on for our post race from what we believe will be the top three. So we'll go ahead and with our third place driver, Travis Start. We're not going to see him on screen due to a little bit of internet issues for him, so we can't stay on camera for him. So the 209 though coming up just a little bit short here, it seems, to make the playoffs. Hey, Travis, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, I do.
Well, Travis, I tell you what, man, what a valiant effort it was tonight in that 209 machine. You guys, you guys worked your tail off to get to where y'all were. You made the middle line work for so long there, but unfortunately, it seems like the wreck lost your teammates, your teammates to be able to help you there at the end. But man, still coming up third and just coming up a little bit short of making those playoffs. It seems unofficially from what we've seen so far. But man, how does that feel coming out down Diego with mixed emotions?
I was feeling great coming out of 4, and then I realized that they had a huge run, and I just didn't react fast enough. I wish I would have went high and blocked them and slowed them down, but I was feeling really happy until coming out of 4 and seeing them do that. But I mean, we worked really hard this week. We knew how the cars ran because of the new update. So big thanks to my team, Cam, Chris, Cole, John, my dad. We put in a lot of work. We did really good during qualifying, and we knew how the car would work. So that's why we stayed in that second lane.
Yeah, y'all did an excellent job. Definitely had the knowledge there for that, man. And definitely, became a point of the field having a tough time to even make passes on you guys. So what a valiant effort, like I said. But, it looks like you're going to come up short on those playoffs. But, still got 4 races left in the season, not including the All-Star race there or 5 races including 6 races including the All-Star race. But, we start off there in Bristol in the playoffs. You're not in the playoffs, but what do you think you can carry from this run here tonight into those playoffs to maybe help for your next season?
Mainly, I'm focusing on helping the team out in the team standings. We're in second place right now. I think we might have a big jump coming out of this race with 3 of our drivers doing really good. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on during the playoffs and helping Chris and Cam as much as I can with them being in the playoffs. Hopefully, they can make a long run. And Bristol, I'm pretty good at Bristol, so should be interesting next week. Never really ran in these cars.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting for sure at Bristol, man. But congrats on third here tonight, Travis, and just coming up, unfortunately, a little bit short for you on making those playoffs, but nevertheless, a good run in the 209. Before I let you get out of here, anybody want to send a shout out
to? First off, my team, once again, we came in to this race wanting a win. We came up a little bit short, but I was there at the end to do it, and it wasn't without my teammates, Cam, Chris, my dad, John, and Cole. Wouldn't have even been close. So once again, shout out to them, and then shout out to you guys, and shout out to the league for letting us run.
Awesome stuff, Travis. Well, congrats on third. We will catch you next time out there at Bristol, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was your third place driver tonight of the 209 Travis Dart. Just coming up a little bit short, leading down to turn 4, and just coming up a little bit short for that last and final playoff position. Now we're going to move on to Dylan Graham, one of our final 4 contenders, and what we believe possibly could be knocked out of the playoffs here with finishing second tonight. It's going to be interesting to see with how the points, how it all shakes up. We know coming into year 2 tonight, Aaron Hill had about 38 points on him, so that was almost an insurmountable mark, we believe, there for Dylan Graham. So we'll hear from him in second place, though, to hear what his thoughts are on just going up a little bit short, possibly. Hey, Dylan, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, Dylan, it seems like possibly tonight you may have come up a little bit short of making your way into the playoffs, man. We'll have to see how all the points shake out once it's all said and done, but it looks like Derek Offerman is going to bring home the victory there. And, that's got to be some mixed emotions for you there because, you pushed him to the lead there. But you also had Travis Dart leading the race. So you kind of were in a tough position of you had to go. I mean, take us through that because it's got to be all playing out as you're going through that last finish.
Yeah, I was on the backstretch on that last lap there, and I knew Travis was leading, and I knew that, if he won, he was going to bump me out. And I saw Derek was on my outside, and so I went out there and gave him a big push and thought I could push him to the win, but I didn't know that, if he got a win, then he would be locked in too. Um, but I just learned that now. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'll definitely take a second place finish and a pretty strong finish. Um, here, Digga.
Yeah, definitely a strong finish nonetheless, man, and a great push there to get that run you guys had against the wall there. So definitely made something happen there. Like I said, probably going to end up outside the points. It looks like from the way the points we're looking before coming in. We do have the playoffs still looming for the guys, and you got some good tracks. I mean, you have Auto Club that you had a great run in the Xfinity car coming up here.
Yep.
2 races away. How do you feel about these playoffs? Even though you're not in it, do you feel like this is something you can build on to, help at least brighten your season a little bit? Because we know making a Final Four last season in the Xfinity car, you probably were expecting more out of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm just gonna go try and win. I don't have any points on the line or anything, so yeah, I haven't got any wins this season so far, so that's just gonna be my main goal is getting as many wins as I can and getting ready for next season.
Well, Dylan, we'll have to see how you play out these final 5 races of the playoffs, man. Unfortunately, you won't be a part of those playoffs, but we'll see how you can perform at least, my friend. But before we let you get out here, as always, in the 23, anybody want to send a shout to?
Yeah, I want to shout out Nate and everyone who puts on this league. You guys in the broadcast booth, you guys do a great job every week. All my teammates at Grim Roberts Racing, they helped me a lot doing practices this week. And I want to shout out any of my family watching out there tonight.
All right, everybody. That was Dylan Grimm there in the 23 machine with a second place finish tonight. Dylan, you have a great night, buddy.
Yep, you guys too.
All right, like I said, everybody, that's your second place drivers. Now we're gonna bring our winner back down here to the way to the broadcast booth as he's definitely excited. But now we'll move on to our race winner and driver making it to the playoffs. It's the 20 Derek Offerman. Hey, Derek and Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man.
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going?
It is going great, man. I tell you what. I mean, that is going to be a roller coaster of emotions. You go from taking the lead on the outside there and getting in that incident there that brought out the caution to set up the green white checkered, and then you come from 21st to the lead. I mean, you had us on the edge of our seat, Derek. I mean, take us through that. That's a way to definitely finish out the regular season to get you into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, as much as bad luck I've had all season long, I mean, I definitely so lucky there those last two. The last restart and then that wreck right before that caution came out. So yeah, it was incredible. I mean, the seas kind of parted away for me and made my way to the front. And then thanks to Grim there for the push at the end.
Yeah, great push indeed for sure. I mean, like I said, made your way from 21st. That was incredible drive there, and this is like you said, it's been on the tougher season for you with just really luck, just situations have not played out for you in the 20 like we've seen in the Xfinity series, where majority of that season you were in the top 10 each and every week. Just seems like in this Cup Series car, it's been a little bit tougher and a little bit more luck bound with how these races have been, man. But now you started off from round of 12 there at Bristol. I mean, that's got to give you a lot of confidence to go in there with a clean sheet of paper.
Yeah, and kind of the same thing last year. I think last year I barely made the playoffs too. So I mean, I have nothing to lose. Going out there and try to get a couple top fives here and there and see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a wild one for sure. Any of those tracks that really excite you, especially in that first round? We got Bristol and Auto Club, definitely two big different tracks. Dover, Homestead, and then the National Super Speedway to finish it out.
Yeah, I think Dover's probably one of my best tracks. I think Dover would be good. I think Homestead and Auto Club, I struggle with the 550. I think with this Cup car and the 550 horsepower package, I just couldn't figure it out this year. So hopefully I can get a good, finish at Bristol, good finish at Dover, and then see what happens.
Well, we're going to see how it all works out, Derek. But tonight, you are the winner, man, getting that win here at Talladega. That's got to feel great, man. Before we let you get out here and go celebrate this thing with your team or all your buddies, anybody wants to shout to?
Yeah, it's actually good talking to you guys for once. I think this is the first time all year I actually got to talk to you guys. And then a shout out to my mom and dad who always stay up late to watch me race.
Awesome stuff, Derek, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, buddy. Congrats on the victory, and I hope to see you back up here soon.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner here tonight. You can see him taking it through right there on the race winner screen. I mean, he had to go from – you don't see many people go from 21st to the lead in a green-white checker. That is very unheard of, and, man, that just shows how wild this finish was. I'm going to go back and check this one out. I might even clip this one out for myself, just due to how wild of a finish that was there. So, man, it was a pleasure to call all the night's action here in this regular season race, but we're going to go ahead and pull up our unofficial race results. It's going to show a little different than what is officially being called at the moment of Derek Offerman winning, as we'll pop those up. It's going to show the number 23 Dylan Grimm as the leader, but he's actually going to be the second place driver. So we'll have to start him off a little bit different here. It's going to be the 20 of Derek Offerman winning the race. Dylan Grimm is going to be second. Third is going to go to Travis Starr. Fourth is going to go to Ken Campbell. Fifth is going to be Jason Gratton. Sixth is going to go to Trey Jackson. Seventh is going to be Kyle McCoy. Eighth is going to go to Christopher Wade. Ninth is going to be Cameron Sarton. And rounding out the Freaky Fast top 10 is going to be Patrick Hasty. As we look through the rest of that leaderboard, man, first off, Derek Offerman did not finish 22nd here. It looks like he'll be scoring the victory, so make sure you know that. But, man, it's definitely some contenders in here that got taken out in a lot of this incident there. Nate Lynch coming down to the end. Aaron Hell didn't have the greatest race. Luckily for him back there in 24th, he's going to get into the playoffs just by on the hair of his teeth. And also Nick Holland there in the 30th position. He's not going to make the playoffs. So it's going to be unfortunate for a few drivers throughout the rest of this list here, not going to be able to make the night they need to get off into these playoffs here to compete with the other 12 drivers for that championship, because it's going to be a wild one indeed. 5 races, and we're going to be declaring a champion very, very soon. So you're definitely not going to want to miss out on that. But it's been a wonderful night of action here at the Talladega Super Speedway here at the Stars and Stripes Racing League. This Cup Series, they've been growing each and every season with a different car, and it's been a pleasure to call all their action up to this point here as they've hit the regular season in, and we're going to head off into the playoffs. So make sure you tune back in here always on Thursdays and other nights that we got going on here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as we're broadcasting it on majority of the nights here. And our next one will be on Sunday night with the MPI Cup Series. So make sure you check us out there, hit that subscribe and that follow button. And we always say here, we love everybody that tunes in. Thank you so much for being able to be a part of our family here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It was fun to call the action here, Stars and Stripes. We're going to head out of here, though, Freaky Fast, and head off to the MPI Cup Series on Sunday night. Love you all. Peace out.